All right, my friend Vivek Ramaswamy is back on, and you have not been with me since you launched Strive Asset Management.
That's right.
One of the coolest projects going, right of center, but is it right of center? And this is the fun part.
It's beyond the axis of partisanship, and that is the whole point, right? You have three asset managers, you know them well, right? BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, who pretended to be nonpartisan for years, but what they did was they aggregated $20 trillion worth of money of everyday citizens' capital, probably money of most people watching this right now, and they used it to vote for one-sided progressive policies in corporate America's boardrooms. And so to me, the idea was there's two ways to play this. You either fight fire with fire, which is to say that you're going to vote for liberal policies, well, we're going to vote for conservative policies. That wasn't the approach I wanted to take. Instead, you fight fire with water and say that, you know what, we're going to advance no political agendas, and in fact mandate that companies get out of politics altogether. So that's what Strive's all about.
And I found that companies will always disappoint you politically if you give them enough time, especially if you get at the granularity that we do at Breitbart and what our audience does. Even companies with great conservative CEOs who donate to the right people, it doesn't mean they're not going to do something super annoying like put up a black square on Instagram for Black Lives Matter. I think they'll always come up with a way to disappoint you. That's why you're saying, stop it, no more politics, and then we're good.
Sure, and there's a cynical force driving that, though.
Yeah.
Especially for public companies in the country. It's not just that the CEO wanted to do the intellectually lazy thing to do, which is to bend the knee.
Right.
That's a big part of it.
Yes.
But a big part of it is, especially amongst public companies, these large asset managers are literally using your and my money to force them to do it. So I'll give you one example, right? Chevron. And by the way, I picked Chevron. I wrote a public letter to the CEO. I've been pretty publicly engaged in pushing them in the last 3 months, but what happened is their CEO's not bad, right? He's a guy who's, I believe, his head is in the right space, he wants to do the right thing. But in 2021, there was a proposal for this company to adopt a Scope 3 emissions cap, and I can get into the details, it's senseless. It makes no sense to reduce how much its customers buy its own oil. The company said no, but what happened was that BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard all voted in favor of it, which gave this proposal majority shareholder support, and then he had to bend the knee. So a big part of this is the money problem upstream. Even if you have CEOs who quietly want to do the thing that you and I want them to do, which is to focus on products for profit, they're forced, ironically using our money as a vehicle to do it, to get shareholders like BlackRock that make them bend the knee. So that's actually part of what's driving that trend.
So we've had a lot of coverage of Strive at Breitbart, and everyone should look it up, those of you who want to catch up on it. But for people who this is new to them, explain what it is, how the idea came to be, and how they can get involved.
So my view is do the same thing as the other guys, but with the actual integrity of saying what you actually stand for. So the whole premise was launching index funds, an easy way to invest in the market, the same way that BlackRock and Vanguard and others built their businesses, but with a different voice and vote. And the voice and vote that Strive brings to the table is it's using shareholder power, speaking on behalf of the capital owners whose money we manage, to tell those companies to knock it off with the politics, to focus exclusively on excellent products and services for profit without apologizing for it. And I'm happy to say that it's gotten off the ground much faster than I would have even imagined, actually. And it's thankfully to the support of everyday citizens that we're able to bring that voice to corporate America's boardrooms.
There's a real hunger for this, and a lot of the frustration, and we've been in AmericaFest last few days here, which is TPUSA's big event for the year. There's a lot of frustration, not just with the political elite, but also the corporate elite. The corporate elite people are fed up with how our corporations are behaving, and you feel like this is a way to get through to them in some degree.
That's right. I mean, I think that we have this culture of fear in our country, right? People, if they speak up actually, they take a risk of losing their job.
Yes.
Have to take a risk between putting food on the dinner table and speaking their mind freely. Well, guess what? You speak and you vote every day with your dollars, whether or not you know it.
Sure.
So when you delegate those dollars to Vanguard or BlackRock, that's not them telling Apple to adopt a racial equity audit. That is you telling Apple to adopt a racial equity audit, whether or not you know it. And so what I wanted to do with Strive was to give people a different way to speak. The ability to say that, yes, I don't have to divest from companies or take money out of otherwise profitable companies because I don't like what they're doing. No, I can do the opposite. As a shareholder, I get a voice and a vote, and I will be heard, even though I don't personally have to be the one that goes out in the public square to speak and take a risk of losing your job. You can do it with your dollars instead. And that's what I remind people. You don't just vote every November, you vote every day with your dollars.